Hi, I'm Christopher Clark, Town Administrator for the Town of Harwich. I'd like to take this month's address to talk about some updated information and materials that we have in regards to the town's wastewater program. This town meeting coming this May, you'll have two articles in which to consider under the wastewater program. The article numbers are going to be Article 11 for the design and the construction of sewers in the southern part of Pleasant Bay watershed. The cost that's affiliated with that article is $9,035,000. That's broken up into three primary pieces. The first piece is the IMA with Chatham. The IMA is an intermunicipal agreement. The town has made a decision that it's more cost effective, instead of building our own plant for an estimated $12 to $15 million, to partner up with Chatham. We do have a tentative agreement, and I think shortly, hopefully, we will have a formalized agreement with Chatham. And that number, the number has remained the same since our tentative agreement, of $6,765,000. So that was part of the overall plan of the town, was to have that IMA, intermunicipal agreement with Chatham, in lieu of building our own plant at the $12 to $15 million cost. Plus, quite honestly, I don't think anyone really wants to have as its neighbor, unless you already have one, a wastewater treatment plant in your neighborhood. The other item in that $9 million request is $250,000 that would help in the design of the pipes that will go from Harwich into Chatham to interconnect into their wastewater plant itself. Water pollution control facility, I believe, is how they refer to it as. And then the last component of that request is $2,020,000, and that's for design and bid of the South Pleasant Bay system. This will allow for the design work to occur and have that work be done in the southern section of the Pleasant Bay watershed. The Board of Selectmen has contracted with CDM. McGuire is our primary contractor to do that work. Actually, I think it's CDM. Sorry. So we have a contract with CDM to go ahead and do that work. That contract is contingent upon the townspeople voting at town meeting for this. So Article 10 and 11 will address some of that. And then there will be ballot questions. I believe at this point, the first and second ballot question will be on these topics. The first one will be the $9 million for what I just laid out. As I've indicated, it's two warrant articles. So Article number 11 is Article 12 is Cold Brook. As part of the Comprehensive Wastewater Management Plan, we have another component as part of Phase 2 that calls for to look at Cold Brook, and to not only look at it, but to, based upon some of the preliminary studies that we have done, but to come up with a design solution to allow nature to take out, and additionally, more efficiently, some of the nitrogen and phosphorus issues that we have in the Cold Brook area. So the estimated cost on that is $2 million. So the rough breakout is $200,000 for design elements, and then $1.8 million for the actual construction. Most likely, we will be partnering with the Harwich Conservation Trust, whereas they control and own several of the parcels that we're looking at doing some improvements in that area. So we are looking at this point, very preliminary, as a joint effort. But the results will be that if we can accomplish this, we can avoid spending millions of dollars sewering certain areas of the community in the Cold Brook area. So this is an important project. In my mind, I've talked quite a bit about Muddy Creek. The Cold Brook project is similar to Muddy Creek in using the environment to do what a treatment plant could do. Now, I kind of say that, and maybe people kind of think, well, that's a solution for everything. Unfortunately, in certain areas where the levels of nitrogen and phosphorus are not so great, we can use some of these alternative technologies to drop the levels down to the level that we are required to be at by the Department of Environmental Protection. So in areas where you can do alternative designs to drop those percentages, we want to try to do that. So Muddy Creek was a great example of that, and Cold Brook is an example of we need to drop the levels, but the sewering, the reason why sewering or doing the wastewater plan itself is so efficient is that when the material goes into the plant, most likely in the Pleasant Bay area, it will be sent to the Chatham wastewater treatment facility. That facility has the ability to remove, I think, upwards of 95% of the nitrogen and phosphorus that we're looking to. So it collects the material, it processes it, it takes out the nitrogen and phosphorus through biological and chemical means, and then it reintroduces the clean water back into the environment. So that's how the environment gets cleaned, because instead of going into your septic tank or into your sewer, into your septic system, leach system, it goes to the plant, and the plant is very efficient at cleaning it. Again, just as a reminder, your home system does not really have any significant role in diminishing nitrogen or phosphorus. One of the things that I think we've been able to accomplish too, and hopefully I know we have this on the town's website, but we have a handbook that the town has put together. Administration, our consultant, the Wastewater Implementation Committee, and obviously the Board of Selectmen have played a very prominent role in making sure that we would have this material out. It's about 12 pages of material. It's a comprehensive look of what does it mean to have a comprehensive wastewater management plan, what does it do, how much does it is estimated to cost, and how much will it cost me. One of the components that we put in there was to have a wastewater calculator. So you can put in the value of your home and get a sense for how much the tax obligation would be on that home, depending upon obviously the value of your home, but over that 40-year history of what we're looking at, or projected costs that we're looking at. So just as a reminder, it's an 8-phase program, approximately, well, it's over $200 million in total. This first request is $11 million for this year, those two combined that I've already referenced. And then the construction component will be over $22 million, and that will be out for next year. So the Board of Selectmen decided that they wanted to do it in 2 phases, do kind of a design phase, get better construction numbers, and then go out with the construction numbers. In my mind, when you're doing and trying to solve the problem in East Harwich and in the Pleasant Bay area, I look at it really, you can't do design without doing construction. So without the two going together, we're not gonna solve the problem. So we would need the voters to pass the ballot questions for this year and for next year if the town's going to be able to address the issue that we have laid out in the comprehensive wastewater management plan. One of the things that we have in this material is we did receive a letter from the Department of Environmental Protection, the commissioner, that, well, what happens? I mean, one of the things I've heard some people say is, well, let's just do nothing. Doing nothing will not be, I believe, a real choice. I think that what you'll see, what DEP is laid out, is that you'll then be required as an individual homeowner, when you update your Title V, or if you're in certain areas in town that have a nitrogen sensitivity, then you'll be expected to put in your own system. And it's anticipated that your own system will cost well more than what it would be to have the town do the infrastructure. Again, a large part of that is our wastewater treatment plants are just so efficient at removing nitrogen and phosphorus, and these home systems, quite honestly, where we can get into the 90–95% range, these home systems are almost half that, so 40 to 50% removal. So you could conceivably have an issue where you update your Title V system to a nitrogen and phosphorus removal system, and then that's still not enough, and the town still has to construct sewers. So I think in this case, the reason why the consultant came back with the recommendation that they did as the best way to resolve the issue is to have the town build it, is because, quite honestly, the technology is most efficient with the town. The town could do nothing and leave it to the individual taxpayer, but I believe that that will be really cost prohibitive for folks. So I do believe that this is a cost-effective solution to a problem that we need to confront and a problem that will need to be addressed one way or another. Hopefully for our next one will be to do an overview of items coming up for town meeting, and I won't have to just specifically talk about wastewater. I've talked about wastewater a lot. I've learned a lot in the experience. But Christopher Clark, Town Administrator, Town of Harwich, thank you for your time and attention.